become a flashpoint of international tension. Multiple countries claim parts of it, including China, Vietnam, the Philippines, Taiwan, Malaysia, and Brunei. At the heart of the issue is control over valuable resources. The South China Sea is rich in oil, natural gas, and is a major fishing ground. Moreover, it's one of the world's busiest shipping lanes, with about $5 trillion in global trade passing through annually. This makes the area strategically crucial, fueling the ongoing disputes. China's claims in the South China Sea are expansive, demarcated by the 9-dash line. This line encompasses most of the South China Sea, extending hundreds of miles from China's southern coast. China argues these waters have been part of its territory for centuries, based on historical rights. However, other nations reject China's historical narrative, citing international law. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, doesn't recognize historical rights as a basis for maritime claims. Under UNCLOS rules, China's claims appear excessive. China's insistence on the 9-dash line has led to numerous conflicts with Vietnam, the Philippines, and even the US Navy. The line has become a symbol of China's assertiveness in the region and a major source of tension. The international community largely views the 9-dash line as invalid, but China shows no signs of backing down from its claims. In recent years, China has taken dramatic steps to solidify its claims through massive island-building projects. This involves dredging sand from the seafloor and piling it onto reefs, transforming them into sizable land masses. China has constructed airfields, radar facilities, and other military installations on these islands. The scale of this island building is unprecedented, with over 3,200 acres of new land created since 2013. The largest of these artificial islands is Mischief Reef, now hosting a 9,800-foot runway. These islands give China a permanent presence in disputed waters. China's islands are also the most heavily militarized, equipped with anti-aircraft guns, missile shelters, and radar domes. This militarization has alarmed other claimant states and the international community. The US and others have condemned these actions as destabilizing, arguing that China is changing the status quo by force. China, however, maintains that it has the right to build on its own territory. Tensions between China and the Philippines have escalated sharply in recent months, with several confrontations between their naval forces. These incidents highlight the volatile nature of the territorial disputes in the region. One notable incident occurred near the Second Thomas Shoal, a submerged reef claimed by both countries. China has been trying to block Philippine resupply missions to this outpost, using aggressive actions like water cannons. Another flashpoint has been the Scarborough Shoal, seized by China in 2012, restricting Philippine access. Filipino fishermen report being harassed by Chinese vessels, inflaming tensions. The frequency and intensity of these naval encounters are increasing, raising fears of a more serious conflict. These skirmishes threaten to escalate into a larger confrontation, becoming a major concern for regional stability. The South China Sea's strategic importance cannot be overstated. It's a crucial waterway for global trade, with about 1/3 of the world's shipping passing through these waters. This includes vital energy supplies for major Asian economies. The sea's location makes it a key route connecting the Pacific and Indian Oceans. Beyond trade, the South China Sea is rich in natural resources, including significant oil and natural gas reserves. The sea is also one of the world's most productive fishing grounds, providing food and livelihoods for millions in the region. Militarily, the South China Sea is of immense strategic value, serving as a potential choke point for naval operations. Control of the sea would allow a nation to project power across Southeast Asia and deny access to rival powers. These factors make the South China Sea a valuable prize for claimant nations and a source of ongoing tension. The Philippines has been at the forefront of challenging China's claims, taking a multi-pronged approach to assert its rights. This includes diplomatic protests, military modernization, and legal action. In 2013, the Philippines filed a case against China at the Permanent Court of Arbitration under UNCLOS. The Philippines argued that China's 9-dash line claim was invalid and challenged China's assertion of historic rights. The court ruled in favor of the Philippines in 2016, declaring China's 9-dash line had no legal basis. The ruling also stated that none of the features in the Spratly Islands qualify as islands under UNCLOS, meaning they couldn't generate large maritime zones. However, China rejected the ruling and refused to participate in the proceedings or accept the outcome. Despite the legal win, the Philippines faces challenges in enforcing the ruling due to China's military superiority and economic influence. The Philippines has sought support from allies, particularly the United States, while also engaging in dialogue with China. This balancing act is difficult, reflecting the complex realities of the dispute. The Philippines' actions continue to shape the dynamics of the South China Sea conflict. The United States, while not a claimant in the South China Sea, plays a crucial role in the dispute. Its involvement is driven by maintaining freedom of navigation, supporting allies, and balancing China's growing influence. The U.S. regularly conducts freedom of navigation operations, FONOPs, sending naval vessels through disputed waters to assert the right of free passage. These operations have led to tense encounters between U.S. and Chinese forces. The U.S. also has treaty obligations in the region, including a mutual defense treaty with the Philippines. This treaty could potentially draw the U.S. into a conflict if the Philippines is attacked. Beyond military actions, the U.S. has taken diplomatic steps, criticizing China's island building and militarization. It has supported the Philippines in its legal challenge against China and worked to strengthen ties with other Southeast Asian nations. This is part of its broader strategy to counter China's influence. However, the U.S.'s role is complex, balancing support for allies with avoiding direct conflict with China. This delicate balancing act shapes much of the geopolitics in the South China Sea. The U.S. remains a key player in the ongoing dispute. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, is central to the South China Sea dispute. It's the primary legal framework governing maritime rights, setting out rules for determining territorial waters and exclusive economic zones. Most countries involved in the South China Sea dispute, including China, have ratified UNCLOS. UNCLOS establishes a 12 nautical mile territorial sea from a country's coastline and a 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, EEZ. Within this EEZ, a country has rights to resources but not full sovereignty. The Philippines' 2013 case at the Permanent Court of Arbitration was based on UNCLOS, with the court ruling that China's 9-line claim had no legal basis. However, enforcing UNCLOS in the South China Sea has proven difficult, as China rejects the arbitration ruling. China's island building complicates matters, as UNCLOS states that artificial islands don't generate the same rights as natural islands. The tension between UNCLOS and the actions of claimant states remains a key issue in the dispute. The South China Sea dispute has significant economic implications, extending beyond the immediate region. The sea's importance for global trade cannot be overstated, with any disruption potentially impacting supply chains and increasing costs for businesses worldwide. The sea's natural resources, including substantial oil and gas reserves, are a key driver of the territorial claims. These potential energy resources could provide significant economic benefits to whichever country controls them. However, the ongoing dispute has hindered exploration and exploitation of these resources. Fishing is another crucial economic aspect, with the South China Sea being one of the world's most productive fishing grounds. Overfishing and the destruction of marine habitats are serious concerns, threatening the long-term sustainability of the fisheries. The conflict also impacts regional economic cooperation, straining relationships between China and Southeast Asian nations. Economic interdependence acts as a restraint on conflict, as countries are hesitant to push tensions too far and risk economic ties. Balancing economic interests with territorial claims is a key challenge for all parties involved. The South China Sea dispute has elicited varied responses from countries in the region. Some, like Vietnam and the Philippines, have been vocal in opposing China's claims, while others, like Malaysia and Brunei, have taken a more muted approach. ASEAN, the regional bloc of Southeast Asian nations, has struggled to address the issue effectively due to divergent interests and relationships with China. ASEAN has called for a code of conduct in the South China Sea, but progress has been slow. Diplomatic efforts to resolve the dispute have been ongoing, with bilateral talks between China and other claimant states and multilateral forums addressing the issue. However, these efforts have had limited success. as China prefers to handle disputes bilaterally and resists internationalization of the issue. Some countries have sought to balance their approach, maintaining economic ties with China while defending their maritime claims. Vietnam, for instance, has deepened economic relations with China while strengthening military ties with the U.S. This balancing act is delicate, reflecting the complex realities of the region. The effectiveness of these diplomatic efforts remains to be seen, as the South China Sea dispute continues to be a major challenge for regional diplomacy.